Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. In this video, we'll look at how to pronounce the names of body parts, singular and plural, and how we make these different types of plurals in English. So some basic information and also some more advanced pronunciation help. First of all, we'll start off with a challenging word that was requested by one of our viewers, and that's the word muscle and muscles. So the word muscle has the letter S together with the C. The C is silent here, and we just hear the S sound in muscle. It has first syllable stress, and the LE is a dark L at the end. So muscle, muscle. We have a little tiny schwa sound between the S and the ul sound. I've rewritten it for you here with no vowel letter there, just because you go quickly from the S to the ul, sul, sul. There's almost no vowel there. If I had to write in something, I would write a UH maybe, or an I, muscle, muscle. You're really trying to just keep the back of the tongue down and the front of the tongue lifted for the ul sound. When we add letter S to make muscle into muscles, souls, we just add the Z sound, muscles, souls. So when we make something plural, we add letter S or letters ES. When we add letter S, most of the time the S will say the Z sound. Sometimes it does say the S sound, and we'll talk about that as well. It depends on what it's going on to. So when we add letter S to a voiced sound, like a O sound, or a vowel like an I sound, then that letter S says the Z sound. You can learn more about how to pronounce plurals when S says S and when it says Z in my videos for that. Check those out here on the channel, and I'll add some information up in the corner, a card for you, so you can click on that and go to those videos and learn more about that. You can also learn more about the sounds in this word and all of the sounds of English in our Sounds of English course. I teach you about letters versus sounds, when S says S and when it says Z, and lots of fundamental details for American English pronunciation, so that you can get that strong foundation to understand pronunciation and spelling and have a lot of confidence when you're trying to speak English. That's our Sounds of English course, and you can find it on our website, speechmodification.com. Additionally, in muscles, we have just the consonant ul sound. So when we add the Z, we don't have to say a sound here for this E at the end. It's not muscles or muscles or anything, just muscles, souls. So one muscle, many muscles. Similarly, or not similarly, we have the word skin, which is already a plural. So it's an uncountable noun. I don't have one skin and several skins, unless I'm talking about, we do use that for example, animal skins. But as in general, we talk about skin to refer to the whole organ of the skin, even though it's many places on the body. Same thing with hair. I don't say my hair, my hairs. I can say, when they're not on my head, I can say, oh, there's some hairs on the floor there. But typically we refer to hair just as hair. It's an uncountable, it's already plural. So I can have one hair that's been plucked from my head, or my hair is all of the hairs on my head. Sometimes we might use certain phrases like the hairs on my arm stood up, or the hairs on my head. That's referring to all of the individual hairs. And then hair is the collective concept of my head hair or arm hair, etc. Okay, so one type of plural adds the S. These types of plurals, inclusive plurals. And then, of course, I have one I, two I's. I has a strange spelling, and it's the same, it's the I diphthong. I've rewritten it for you here with IGH like we have in right or night, just because there's no other way to interpret that spelling. But of course, it's the same as the letter I or the pronoun I, as in me. And because it's a vowel, when we add the letter S, the S is a Z. So thinking of eyes, making sure that you have that voiced Z sound at the end. I don't need a strong Z when I'm making plurals. I don't have to say my eyes with that strong sound. It's a weak Z, eyes, my eyes. But I don't want a strong S. If I say ice, ice, it actually will sound like the word ice, and we don't want that. We don't want this sound, the strong S, it's a different word. Also, when I'm saying eyes, I hold that longer than if I say ice. Before a voiced sound, we hold the vowel sound longer. So some ice, that's short. My eyes, that's longer. That's the main thing that tells you whether or not you're doing a S or a Z sound. The S is strong in ice and the vowel is short. The Z is weak in eyes and the vowel is long. Again, I discuss this in more detail in my videos about S and Z, about voiced end sounds. So that's something to check out on the channel or in our course. Same thing with ears. The R here functions as a vowel because ear is an R diphthong with an ear glide. So we again have a Z sound, one ear, two ears. These Z sounds, plurals, are more noticeable when we're linking to a vowel. So if I say my eyes are, my ears are, you're really going to hear that Z sound more, my ears are, rather than I have two ears. You'll just hear that really weak Z, but my ears are bothering me, ears are. You're going to hear that Z sound more strongly as it links to the vowel. Okay, so muscles, skin, hair, eyes, ears. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list of all the body parts. It's just common ones that we use that I'm selecting in order to teach you about the plural sounds, about the pronunciation of some of these words, and some details like that. Okay, so when we get to nose, we're often talking about it in the singular because we have one nose, but here's another example of letter S saying the Z sound. It's not nos, but rather nose, nose. My nose is running. My nose is on my face. So again, if I link to a vowel, noses, I'll hear that Z sound more clearly. If I'm just saying my nose, I'll have kind of that weak Z sound. I just want to avoid a strong S. I don't want nos. And when we make nose plural, if we're talking about several people's noses, then we have to add a full syllable. So to make nose plural, we add the I sound and another Z sound. So this happens because when a word already ends with a S or a Z, an S or a Z sound, we can't just add another. I can't say nose. You won't hear the difference. And so we have to add the syllable with another vowel. One nose, two noses. So anytime you have a word and you're making it plural, if it ends with S or Z, you have to add is, noses, noses. And then some of our plurals are irregular plurals, so we don't add the S, the letter S or the S or Z sounds. We change the vowel in the word. For example, 1 foot, 2 feet, 1 tooth, many teeth. So these are irregular plurals are obviously ones that you just have to memorize, how the word changes, how it's spelled, and how it sounds. Fortunately, foot and feet, tooth and teeth are somewhat straightforward in terms of the vowel sounds. I guess for foot, this is one that you do need to watch out for, that the letters OO say the sound rather than an oo. So in a word like food or fool, I have the letters OO say oo. This is the most typical pronunciation of letters OO in English. They, most of the time, in most words, will say that tense oo vowel. There's just a few words where the letters OO say So words like foot, good, book, stood, look. There are common everyday words, though, that have this sound. So if you have trouble saying that vowel, you might find it easier to match it with a word like put. For example, put your foot. Those have the same vowel sound and the same pronunciation except for the first letter. And so you can use that to help you. If it's easy for you to see letter U and think of the sound, put your foot, you can match those and be saying the sound correctly. I also find that for some people, words like push or should help you with that vowel. Should, my foot, just because that put or that push and should have a little bit of lip rounding. That vowel is also a lax vowel but has some rounding, versus the oo is more of a tense vowel, and you're going to have more pursed lips for the oo in food than the in foot. Again, I have videos talking about letters OO, which times it says the oo sound and which times it says the sound, what other sounds it can make. You can check those out in our vowels playlist on the channel and in our Sounds of English course. We walk you through all of those types of details. So feet, you'll find it a little bit simpler to pronounce because most languages have this E vowel. EE is a very typical spelling for that in English. Not a lot of guesswork with feet. And then the challenge with tooth and teeth. One thing to watch is that this is an example of letters OO saying the oo sound. So I have some food stuck on my tooth. Or you could think of, I have a new tooth. That's another way we spell the oo sound, letters EW, like in new. My new tooth. For some people, the TH at the ends of words is challenging. If that's the case for you, try just practicing the TH by itself, resting the tongue gently on the teeth and blowing air. Then add your vowel, ooth, ooth, tooth. Most typical error here is that people, for the TH, will end up pushing the tongue against the teeth or blocking the air, and it'll sound like tooth instead of tooth, tooth. You don't want any stopping of the air, it should just flow. And then same for teeth. We just have the high front E vowel in teeth. Again, you can practice starting with the TH, teeth. For some people, I do notice that people will use the incorrect plural for teeth, but generally speaking, that's one that you learn fairly early on as you're learning about English and irregular plurals. So again, to recap, we have the most common sound that S says in a plural would be the Z sound, like in ears, eyes, or muscles. Then sometimes we will have a sound, I guess I don't have an example of that here. So let me think of a body part that ends with a voiceless sound besides foot. Well, I'll use one that's not a body part. Just an example would be, for example, I have a hat on my head. Make that plural. I have hats, because the T in hat is voiceless. So when we add an S to it, we just keep the voice off. It would be too hard to do hats and put the Z on. So hats, cats, pets, letters T, F, P, and K will have that, the letter S saying this sound. And most of the time, as I said, we'll have the Z sound for the S, and then occasionally, if the word ends with a S or a Z, we have to add a whole syllable, nose to noses. So we'll add the letters ES and the sounds I, Z. Double lesson here, a little bit on pronunciation of plurals, and of course some specifics on some of these simple body parts. If you have a body part or a question about plurals that's not covered in this lesson, feel free to leave that in a comment. I can cover that in a future video. You can also see more, some of the more complex medical and body part physical words in our medical words playlist. Things like larynx and pharynx, stomach, etc., where the spelling doesn't always give you a lot of clues for how to pronounce those words. You can check that out in our medical words playlist. I will be back tomorrow with another word of the day, and Saturday we'll have our live question and answer class. You can join that, type your questions in the chat, and I'll answer them for you live. Also, feel free to leave comments on the video. I do go through those, and I will direct you to resources on the channel, or I'll add your word to my list to cover in a future word of the day. We're also doing some new series, including our vowel challenge lessons. Those are live lessons where we're going through all of the vowels of English, talking about the error patterns you may have, spelling, pronunciation, common words therein, what to watch out for as you're learning how to pronounce English, getting into a lot of details regarding the vowels. You can find that in the Vowel Challenge playlist, also in our General Vowels playlist. Those videos are included, and we'll be having another one of those fairly soon. Our other new series is our shadowing practice. So moving beyond the basics of pronunciation, we're looking at how to listen and shadow conversations in order to focus more on the flow of speech, the intonation, the rhythm, the linking and reductions. You can check that out on our shadowing playlist. And we also have a lot of lessons about fluent speech, linking, reductions, and connection on our Real Talk playlist and in our Real Talk course. So check those out here on the channel and on our website, speechmodification.com. I just want to give a shout out and a thank you to all of you who have subscribed. It's wonderful to see so many of you and to see that growing. We also offer channel memberships where you can join for a small monthly fee and get a lot of perks. So it's a way to show your support for the channel, as well as to access some additional materials just for those of you who have joined, as well as some other resources. So check that out. You can click on the subscribe and join buttons to learn more about that if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way. Thanks so much for watching this video, for sharing, commenting, liking, subscribing. All of those things are helping speech modification to grow, and I truly appreciate your support. Looking forward to seeing you in our next class. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound like a native speaker, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, everyone. Hope to see you again soon.